Okay. And we are live. All right. Today is day 227, live streaming every day. We're just going to have a chill stream, a short stream. I'm probably just going to watch some videos. And then tomorrow, we're going to push abiotic factor. All right. So give me 1 sec. World of Warcraft put out a video 2 days ago. Tune in for a deeper dive into warbands and in-game for the War Within with game director Morgan Day, gameplay engineer, blah blah blah. As you may know, War Within comes out in 1 week for early access. That is the countdown. We are hyped for War Within. We will definitely be playing Warrior, but I am not sure what spec. Because even Prot has been thought about. So let's see this video.
Welcome to a special edition of Wowcast, and thank you so much for joining us. Launch is right around the corner, and today we are joined by a few incredible guests to share how Dungeons, Raids, and PvP has evolved, as well as new features like Delves and Warbands. Please introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Laura.
War Within.
There's really been 3 main pillars we've been focusing on. The first is variety. We want to make sure that there's all kinds of activities for you to do, whether it be in the outdoor world or with some of our new features like Delves that are really going to add some new variety for those players. Additionally, we really want to focus on progression and giving players new challenges to try to overcome in the end game. And finally, the story and making sure that that narrative is front and center. Now, whether that's tied into some of these features and some of the content that we built there, or maybe it's focused on the end game campaign that is going to be built out as players progress as well. Something that I think is going to be really transformative and I'm excited about for the War Within is one of our major features, warbands. If you aren't familiar, this is a feature that really ties all your characters together. And really this is our opportunity to make sure that we're really respecting the time of the player behind the keyboard and not constantly asking you to, maybe re-earn something on one character
That's
that you've already
good.
earned on another one. That's all changing with the War Within.
That's really good.
Really exciting.
John Mark, can you tell us more about the significant undertakings that Warbands is about?
Yeah, it's no easy task to reimagine in a modern context what we've done over the past 20 years. I think, Morgan, at BlizzCon, you called this several features in a trench coat. Yeah. And it's very true. In a nutshell, it's really a philosophical shift in how we approach the game. Instead of being from a character focus, we're taking a step back and approaching it more from what the players accomplished over the entire time.
Is that a delve?
Historically, we've added on pieces to individual systems from the engineering side to support features going into expansions. But if we could wave a magic wand and go back 20 years ago, knowing where we're headed today, likely we would have organized those things very differently from an engineering perspective.
Yeah, and I really feel like this is easily one of the largest undertakings that our engineering team has had to, develop for an expansion. We always used to look at, updates to future patches where like, let's make this a little bit easier for your alt to catch up or earn some progression there. Where now that is something that we're really architecting from the forefront and really beginning the
Ooh, I
conversation
like
with
that.
I think when it's all said and done, every engineering sub-team is going to have touched this feature.
So what value do warbands bring?
It's all about being able to transfer stuff between your characters. If you have items that you want to send from one character to the other, you just put it in the warband bank. If you have currency that you want to send from one character to the other, you can just grab it directly from all the characters that are on your account. Or if you're a druid and you're going through one of the old raids and you get a piece of plate gear, your warrior can just equip it.
Yeah, one of the things I love about it is the
Plate
shared
gear.
renown, right? Like there's so much reputation that I'm gaining across my characters that will all be combined and consolidated on one account-wide reputation there. There's a lot of
Sorry.
fun stuff that also enables when it comes to like trying to find more variety in the way I approach the game. For instance, I was leveling I think my second character on the beta recently, and I made sure to go out and turn warband questing on so that I saw all the quests that I already completed. It's a little bit less opaque, so it's kind of transparent. And that way like, okay, I've done that quest on one of my other characters. So I can kind of cherry pick all the reputation from quests that I haven't completed yet. Something else when it comes to, maybe gearing that new
That's
character.
cool.
There's actually a new type of item called Warbound Until Equipped, or WOO. This is a new item that will drop in all kinds of endgame content, including things like Mythic Plus and Raids, where these will be bonus drops, where they'll drop slightly lower item level where you might have earned that reward, and then you can put that in your bank or send it to one of your alts, and actually once you equip it on one of your characters, then it will bind to that character. So the fact that it binds to the warband means we can be really generous with that gear as we're dropping for alts.
I imagine as part of this overhaul that it's led to some unique challenges with the UI.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. UI revamp continues, and warbands was a great opportunity for us to.
What does that mean? That your warband has to be like what you're gonna play? Like, let's say it's warrior, mage, priest, and then like warlock. Will it? And you're playing your warrior. Will cloth only drop?
Revamp the character select. Last time we did a big entry screen update was during Shadowlands. So with warbands, we did a whole big user experience revamp there. We kept the right side list, but now you can drag and drop much easier your characters, and we have a favorite section there, which is really cool because they're all cross-helm characters that you can have. So you don't need to be back and forth choosing characters. They're all going to be there for you, very, very easy. And also the tooltips are all new. Now you just mouse over and it's all there for you. So pretty great improvements overall. And also the new bank for your warband characters. So a lot of good improvements that we wanted to make sure it feels natural to players, and it just feels great. That's what a good UI should be. So yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Came out 2 days ago, covering raids, dungeons, PvP, and delves in the War Within. We have 1 week left until the early access begins.
A lot of functionality out of that too, like you can craft straight out of your warband bank, so you can just dump all that stuff in your warband bank, and one of your other characters who might be able to use that profession stuff will then be able to access it much more quickly. You don't have to mail it around, and it's really looking to streamline a lot of those experiences.
For our Mythic Plus runners or dungeons, any kind of activity.
Follow John. Let's see what John has to say. Hey, I've been loving your streams and think you're incredibly skilled. I'd love to join in on the fun and connect with your community. Would you be willing to share a Discord invite with me? Thanks so much, Libby906.
That requires a group. We also revamped that left panel, the little ear pane that you push it out. You can now apply raid markers much easier. You can also assign different folks in your group to do so, which before wasn't that easy. And also you can change very easily as well the difficulty of the instance.
One of the things I
This
love
is
that we added
wow.
is
That's
hubs.
great.
Right, so on
I
the
like
main
that.
map, there's often, as you are progressing in the end game, there's all kinds of content that might be really consolidated
You
in
are
one
not
area, and
allowed to
sometimes it's
paint.
like, oh, there's so much stuff here, and it makes the map feel like it might have a
video's
little bit
good
of
though, the
clutter on it. So
volume.
we now have a way to kind of consolidate some of that.
The hubs, as
Let's take
Morgan
a
was
look at this. Wow. Wow.
explaining, when you get in the world within, you're gonna see
What's
this
this? Little cosplay quest, little, you know, drama.
castle city icon that we're gonna have in each zone, and Dornagal is the biggest one. When you click on it, you can see the
They said previously, I think you missed it, that if you did this quest on your main and then you're leveling up an alt, if you see this quest, it'll be like different color and it'll say your warband has previously completed this quest.
city map. And one of the technologies that we want to add,
If you
the hub
wanted to,
gonna
like,
prioritize for
farm
you
rep.
what is the most important content for you to do. Of course, you can choose to do something else, but we want to clean up the surroundings of hubs and main cities. So that's the kind of tech that we're looking into
think this
UI
chick
as well,
plays
and we want
Druid.
to evolve and get players' feedback. Also, for the end game,
Oh, that's that chick from the cinematic.
have a new type of quest that's called meta quests, but those are end game
Meta
important
quest.
repeatable
World quest, theater trope. I was right. The rookery and world boss.
quests, and
You
then
know I'm gonna give you the theater.
they are the classic exclamation mark, you know, above the NPC heads. But it's blue because it reminds of the daily, the old dailies. But you're gonna have spikes around it, so you know that's like, oh,
Envy.
I should check this out. Yeah. So the hub gonna, when there's something available as a meta quest for that week,
Meta quest.
the hub will show that to players, so you know that's something that you should do. If you don't have too much time, you probably should prioritize those because they give very, very good end-game rewards. So
Do
that's the
your
kind of
meta
technology that
quests.
UI is trying to help players.
Logging
Yeah, that's
in.
really helpful.
You might
I did all my stuff. There is an heirloom ring that you can pick up from the event. If you get 20 of each essence, and then you buy the ring, you can make an heirloom ring. I'm actually looking forward to leveling a earthen dwarf at some point with full heirlooms, but I don't know what I would make.
be coming back, or you're veteran players, or you just want to, you know, do the easiest thing for the week, and that's gonna be out there on the map for you, so you don't have to go back to the icon soup.
Are there any extra quality of life improvements to the UI?
Sure, I've seen a lot of the community very happy about the search bars, so we keep adding those. With Warbands, we have a search bar there as well. In Dragonfly, we had the search for in the options menu. Professions, of course, if you're searching for something specific. Bags, we added that in Dragonfly, and the talents. But now
Wait, they didn't add searching in your bags until Dragonflight?
the spellbook is getting a whole revamp, and
seen
it's so
that.
good to have a search bar there. The spellbook looks beautiful now, like you can have 2 pages, and that way you don't have to paginate as much. But if you really prefer one pane, there is
It was through add-ons. It seems like maybe they're trying to reduce add-on bloat.
an icon at the top,
I don't know, dude. I don't know what spec I should play on my warrior.
which is the collapse one. It comes back to the original classic size, so we know some players really love that, and we want
What are you gonna play? You don't even know yet, huh? Dual wield frost, dude. Dual wield frost sounds sick with the 4 horsemen. Oh, dude, I'm fucking pumped, dude. We're gonna do a fucking 24-hour stream. I'm gonna fucking drink the buffalo soda.
to make sure that everyone
gonna
is
be
happy
great.
with the new spellbook. Having the time to do all that stuff makes us so happy
gonna be
because we
great,
want to
dude.
keep the classic WoW look.
WoW expansion launches are like Christmas for me.
Even though it looks modern, but it still feel
3
WoW,
p.m.
and that's really
PST.
important for us.
Morgan, earlier you mentioned you want to
Thursday.
empower players to play the way they want to play.
Dual wield
How is
frost,
that?
DK, bro. That's gonna be so sick. Dude, that's gonna be so sick for our arenas too. Oh my god. And then Shaman, Shaman gets Shaman is bringing Wind Fury back.
going to be approached in the new feature delves?
Yeah,
Your
so
warband is
like we've
Praise Pally
discussed,
DK
delves are really
Hunter.
bite-sized content, really targeted on those players who love progression in the outdoor world and maybe aren't so excited about going into group content or queued content. Something that they gave us feedback on is that they really wish that there was a way for these to be a bit more difficult and maybe give them a bit of a challenge too. Delves, while the rewards might end at tier 8, so that the item level that you're getting stops there, the difficulty tier goes to 11. And when you reach that difficulty, there will be a hard mode version of Zekfir, which for people who might be familiar with some of those solo challenges like the Mage Tower of the past, this will be a new solo challenge for players to really, try to tackle over time. And we imagine this is something that will take quite a bit of effort and, progression to get to the point where you'll be able to defeat Zekfir at that difficulty. And waiting for you, if you're able to do that, is a really awesome, unique, kind of voided out version of that customizable delve mount that you're going to be rewarded with very early on in your delve progression.
Can you talk about the different varieties of delves?
Yeah, so with delves, there's 13 delves in total, and something that we really wanted to focus on was to make...
I hope they're actually 13 delves instead of like Diablo's approach, where there's hundreds of dungeons, but there's only 10 different variations. So
make sure that each delve had multiple variants, right? So while there's...
They also said that when you're killing a boss, there's a chance to drop this new type of gear called Warbound Until Equipped Woo. And I was curious if that would only drop certain pieces of from characters that are in your warband. For example, if you had all cloth users in your warband, would it only drop cloth spellcaster gear? Or if you were like, you know what I'm trying to say? Does that matter? And then if you were like, let's say you have a Praise Pally DK Hunter, like would you want to like put all clothies so that it's only dropping cloth because you want to get that one character geared? Because it would be kind of weird to be like getting like bows and shit, and you're like, I don't even have a hunter, for example.
12 delves that you'll experience and be sent to, a couple in each zone.
Delves seem sick because you can do them by yourself, right? But then you could also do like me and you. We could do like 3 people. We could do 4 people. Like, you know what I mean? That's gonna be cool.
Every time you zone in, we wanted to make sure that, it wasn't just some small tweaks here and there, like, oh, the spawning changed a little bit, or maybe there's some traps that look a little bit different. The actual objectives are changing. Sometimes the way you traverse through the delve completely changes. Maybe you're going to start at the end of the delve this time and work your way backwards. So we wanted to make sure that these different variants were really distinct with each new delve.
That's cool.
And we also wanted to make sure that, like I said earlier, with progression to be a large part of this. So there's a couple different aspects of that. For one, the Great Vault, which is something that a lot of our raid and PvP and Mythic Plus players are familiar with.
No more PvP Great Vault.
Is going to get an outdoor row with the War Within. So the loot...
Complete 3 delves or world activities. No more PvP Great Vault.
That comes from delves. We wanted to make sure outdoor row with the War Within.
2 awakened raid bosses? That's Dragonfly, right? Is it?
So the loot that comes from delves, we wanted to make sure that while it was bite-sized content, that doesn't mean it can't be really rewarding, right? So if you're able to, work your way up and defeat level 8, which is where the loot kind of caps out at, your Great Vault will actually reward you with items that are higher item level than you would get out of like a Mythic plus 10 end of run chest. So it's really really good loot.
Yeah, it's really
and
rewarding.
We want to make sure that you're using that gear that you're in along the way to work through the different delve tiers and finally take the fight to Zekfir and by extension Xalatath as well, which also gets us into feeling like delves should be a big part of our endgame story as well, and making sure that they're paying into this narrative of Xalatath and all of our epic heroes that we're experiencing along the way. Something else that we added in the UI for Delves is, there's now a whole tab that exists for Delves that will exist down with, the Adventure Journal, where you can see Mythic Plus and see your seasonal journey there. Now when you go to the Delves tab, you can find the Great Vault from there. You can also see Bran, who's your companion. You can change his spec and see kind of the progression there. So lots of fun UI additions and improvements that have made Delves that much more fun.
Idol of the Earth Mother.
The team has also made significant changes to the Mythic Plus dungeons. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, so actually, not only is Mythic Plus getting some changes, but also the core progression of dungeons is shifted quite a bit. So if you've been playing Dragonflight Season 4, you might have seen that Mythic 0 has actually gotten quite the facelift. Something that we have noticed in the past is...
Whoa. What does this mean? Dragonflight Season 3. Normal. Ooh, is this a difficulty? So, like, it's right here. So, normal is, like, as hard as a heroic. And a heroic is as hard as Mythic 0. And then a Mythic 0 is like a Mythic 10? And then a Mythic 10 is like a Mythic 20?
Mythic 0 was great for like 2 weeks of an expansion, and then nobody really needed to do it anymore because they had just progressed into Mythic Plus. So with The War Within, a Mythic 0 will be the equivalent of what, if you haven't played since Shadowlands, a Mythic 10 might have been. So it's quite difficult, and will be equally as rewarding. But we wanted to capture that audience of people who loved that feeling of the mega dungeons where there's still progression, but also there's no timer, right? So if that was something that maybe put you off from Mythic Plus, this is something that you can still do with your friends, and hey, you can run AFK if you need to in the middle of these. But for Mythic Plus itself, we really took a huge step back and wanted to do a major affix refresh. We have gone through multiple iterations of that on the beta. We got a lot of feedback from our first iteration of it and have really pivoted significantly since then.
It was kind of neat because we had some players that said, we really like the direction of these affixes. These I don't know about. And then other players that felt the exact opposite. I'm not sure about these, but I really like this direction. And really what it helped us crystallize was we had multiple groups of players that wanted different challenges out of the same Mythic Plus system. Historically, affixes have been a one-size-fits-all approach to challenge and variety.
Why not just let you pick that affix?
But it was kind of a cool moment. Morgan came to the gameplay engineering team and was like, hey, we got this feedback. We have this idea for making affixes target different level ranges rather than applying to the entirety of Mythic Plus. And the design solution ended up being pretty elegant for engineering to implement. It was like this beautiful confluence of events where we were able to turn this around within, 2 weeks or something like that, and get the full revamped system back on the beta for players to test.
Yeah, it was really awesome to see kind of that all come together so quickly. So, what players have seen now and what will be going live with The War Within Season 1 is a version where Xalatath actually plays a major role in the affixes, from the beginning up until level 12. And it's very much one of the goals we had to make sure that the story plays a part in all of our endgame content. So we really wanted to kind of achieve that by having her kind of show up in your Mythic Plus dungeon and maybe throw some spells at you and mess with you.
Yeah.
We're coming up on the 20th anniversary of World of Warcraft this year, and if you're coming back from a break or if you're a completely new player, just learning the dungeons can be daunting on top of affixes and things like that. So this sort of granular way that affixes apply challenges to the dungeons allows players to engage with them in the way that they want to be challenged.
Something that we added in Dragonflight, which is the follower dungeons, are great for that because you can have NPC companions, which are not real players, playing with you through the dungeon. And let's say you just changed to a new spec, you want to be a healer now. And I really want to try that first before really going to a dungeon with new players.
We know that players in dungeons often are afraid of trying out new specs. And with hero talents, there's different flavors of new combat for people to try out. And follower dungeons provide a way for you to just go in and feel it out and not be too concerned about how you're impacting other people.
Approachability has been mentioned a few times. How are we applying that to PvP?
Yeah, there's actually a new feature that I am personally going to play quite a bit, where you're going to be able to experience essentially rated battlegrounds. It's called Rated Battleground Blitz, which is a smaller number of players, and you'll be able to earn conquest and all the awesome rated
warrior
PvP
looks
rewards
sick.
while playing battlegrounds. Because we know there's a ton of people who love battlegrounds, but the jump into arenas sometimes might be a little bit scary. That is a much more smaller experience, and each little mistake counts for a lot when you're in an arena. Where in a battleground, there's a lot more going on. Usually they last longer. There's objectives. So we really are excited about that new feature. I know I have done a ton of, I know the community calls them YOLO RBGs, where you can just do RBGs, don't worry about voice chat, you just kind of go in and play. I always love running into those, so having this feature will kind of take that place for me. So I'll be able to earn my conquest early on in the season. I know we mentioned the Great Vault quite a bit earlier when we were discussing this. We actually got a lot of feedback from our PvP players that they don't love having to have the Great Vault be such a big part of their itemization and gearing journey. Not only does it add some potential randomization, right? Like maybe first week of the season you got a weapon and I don't, and that kind of can create some imbalance there. But also, like we're talking about accessibility, it can also cause problems where maybe you're a couple weeks into the season and you just now want to get into PvP, but there's no catch up on the Great Vault, so you can feel like you're permanently behind on PvP, and it's maybe the barrier to entry is a little too high for you to get into that. So not having that in the Great Vault actually solves a lot of problems for us, giving players more agency in how they're rewarded, and also we have much stronger catch-up on things like our conquest currency for PvP players. So we think that will be a big step forward for that audience, and hopefully inspire some people to check out PvP in the War Within.
Raiding is an integral part of endgame. How is the team approaching raids this tier?
Yeah, so Nerebar Palace is going to be an epic experience. Nerubians galore in there, and one of the cool new features that we're introducing with War Within is to play through the raid, or at least experience the ending with Queen Ansarak.
Like Shadowlands, like Castle Nathria, dude. I fucking love that raid. That was the best raid.
Solo. So we wanted to make sure that for people who were really engaged in that story at the end game, but maybe didn't want to go into queued content or don't have a whole group to go into the raid with, they'll still be able to see that epic finale. Something else that I think is really fun, there's a lot of variety in player skill across all of our player types in the game, and we have a lot of difficulties for them. But even within a single raid, there can be a lot of progression that you're experiencing. And with Dragonflight, we added a new item upgrade system where you could upgrade some of your gear. But some players also found that they might not be able to quite get over that hurdle on one of maybe the end boss or something that comes as the penultimate boss. So we're adding a new quest that will unlock about a month into the War Within. That every week you'll get a little bit more powerful. It's
what? Oh, you just like get more powerful, like when you wipe in Raid Finder.
It's kind of reminiscent of like Hellscream's war song back in Icecrown Citadel, but you'll have to kind of earn your way through that progression. So not only is there awesome gear to be earned as you progress.
You know another raid I liked? I don't know what it's called, but the one with Gahoon in BFA. That was sick.
Through the raid, but we wanted to make sure that for people who might take a little bit longer, there's some more progression along with just the gear.
That buff's applied throughout your warband, right? It's not just on the character?
Yeah, that's another really fun thing. Again, like that was something that maybe would have just been applied to a single character, but in War Within, that buff is across my whole warbands.
That's cool.
While we are talking about raids, I would love to bring it up.
See, like, can't you just like, all right, switch your warbands and it all just
the self-highlight option, which I'm a huge fan. You can highlight yourself and persist that. But now you can even have an icon on your head that nobody can take from you. So that is awesome. For players, I'm included, that I cannot find myself in the whole chaos of a raid boss or even Mythic Plus. There's also another option that's called Show Silhouette when Obscured. If you have that on, there is a silhouette of your character between that pillar. Let's say it's a pillar. So you see your character there.
I always call those like the flag boss or the tree boss, where it's like, the flag is in my camera. That's really cool, Laura, and I love that. And not only those cool options, but there's so much more to explore in the War Within, and I'm really excited for our players to come on this journey with us. Both players who have been with us all through Dragonflight, as well as players who might be returning.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this look into endgame content, and we look forward to seeing you in Kazalgar.
Alright, that was pretty good. What was this? Classic arena. What the fuck? Oh, that was cool.
When we are young, we are taught to revere the light. But when I turn to it, I see only fire. The fire of pain, of loss, the choices I made.
This reminds me of like...
Quel'Thalas.
Okay.
Home.
Blizzard needs to quit fucking around and they just need to make a goddamn TV show.
Until the Horde threatened everything. My family was sworn to protect it. And protect it we did. When Sylvanas and I fought together, we fought as one.
Oh, sick.
But the conflict here was growing, pulling my sister and I apart.
Dude, this is awesome.
How can you leave? You will choose the Alliance over Quel'Thalas, our home.
It's not just our kingdom at risk. If the Horde isn't beaten back, others will fall. I have to go.
But you're abandoning your family.
I am
Ark is
doing this
bold,
for our family. I lost a sister that day. Had I known that my actions would curse Sylvanas to her fate, would I have chosen differently? I left my home to fight this war to the end. I had no
This
idea
is
how
sick.
far away that fight would take me. Yet despite the war, I found my life's true love,
Oh,
Turalyon.
whoa.
And together we fought side by side
Turalyon.
until we became three.
Oh, they had a baby? I didn't
But
even
beyond
know
the
that.
boundaries of our world, our enemies
Dude,
grew
they need
powerful.
to, like, make more
You
of
can make
this.
your stand here. Why risk marching into the unknown?
It's like He-Man.
Our only choice is to take the fight to them before it's too late. Should we not succeed?
I will keep him safe. Just come
Who is their
back.
baby?
We'll return before you know it, Eritor.
Eritor. Wait, is Turalyon
Had I
dead?
known that I would not see my son again until he was a man himself,
Damn, that's sad.
would I have still left? I had given everything for this fight.
Is Turalyon dead? Or is he on the... Is he on the frozen throne? What? He's immortal? What the fuck? He's alive.
The only thing left to give was myself. There was no other way.
Damn, Paladin.
In order to defeat the darkness, I had to embrace it.
Oh shit. She looks
So
like
embrace
this?
it, I did.
Oh. Oh.
what cost. Terrellian, who had known me, loved me, fought beside me, now saw me differently.
What have you done?
The shadow, it saved us.
No.
Oh.
I would rather have died than see you fall to evil.
Holy
Terrellian didn't
shit.
understand, but I could not fault him.
He's a paladin, bro. What do you think?
If I had known that embracing the shadow would push him away, would I have sought another path?
We just left him on the rock in space. Hi. Good.
No. All of the things I did for a reason.
Oh, Jesus. Nope.
War is sacrifice. And I have sacrificed everything to protect those I love.
Dude,
To
Waylander
keep
would be
them
sick.
safe. And if it takes sacrificing myself to protect our world,
Oh, that's him.
I will not hesitate. I am a soldier of Azeroth.
Sylvanas is out. Illyria's in. That was pretty good, dude. They need to make more of these, but I think they just need to put them on Netflix and make them an hour long. And yeah. They recovered from this. Okay. We've seen this. Yeah, that's the okay. Ugh. Damn, I like that. I want more. EDM Kazoo remix? What the fuck? Alright, well, I think Melissa wants to watch a show. Joe Rogan's $30 million lawsuit against CNN. My girlfriend's left me. Okay. Why you should play tank or healer in the War Within? Because we need them. Protection Paladin, 1 button. Arena Breakout Infinite. This game turned out to be the greediest pay-to-win trash. Ammo for money. That's wild, dude. So I played the pre-patch. Uh, the War Within tier list. The best and worst classes of the War Within.
Isn't it absolutely bonkers
By
that you can walk into a store, hand someone a piece of plastic, and they...
Okay, this is it. Blizzard have got class changes locked.
Okay, skip.
Knight is an amazing class with 3 awesome specs. If you like the theme of it, you basically can't go wrong. Big result for the DKs, but second on the glow up tier list is Mage. Frost's changes are tiny, but they are worth writing home about because they're quite surgical. So, talent swaps have basically opened up more AoE hybrid builds instead of the all or nothing from before. More power has been added to the non-glacial spike builds, which should keep the more easy gameplay style of Frost discount. Okay, let's kick things off with the lucky and the triumphant, and Warrior then. Warrior is more or less upgraded on all fronts, though by minor tweaks that add up rather than anything that's like class or spec changing. So protection gets key weaknesses shored up via a little bit of extra magic damage reduction and, well, access to the absolutely fantastic Thunderclap focused talent tree of the hero talents. Like, man, Mountain Thane's awesome. Then for Arms and Fury, well, you guys are the real winners. There's reduced rage and proc generation in Arms that actually does mean that it ends up feeling a bit less crowded than before. I think people will like that, and most notably, Cleave now replaces Whirlwind entirely. Overpower has only got one charge, and Ravager has been added as a choice against Bladestorm.
Wait, Overpower has
Over
one
Fury,
charge.
then we see a similar story. Bloodthirst buffs and talents now basically give it a place in the rotation. Bladestorm is back, but in improved form, and some tweaks and rebalances have just brought it to a much smoother and better overall place. The hero talents for both are actually real nice as well. Slayer buffs Execute and Bladestorm in ways that cross over well. Colossus adds a new, very cool looking, but slightly controversial channeled ability called Demolish. Some people won't like it, to other people it will just feel like, well, you're demolishing people, and that will feel good. Then Fury, of course, gets access to Mountain Thane. That replaces Whirlwind with a buffed Thunderclap, which is awesome. So altogether, Warrior does feel kind of like the DKs, but maybe not as good, where you've basically got an awesome tank spec with two different flavors of DPS that are real fun. Next then, Hunters, who are another minor winner here, and really for a lot of the same reasons as with Warrior. We've got a class tree reshuffle that has actually removed Death Chakram and Serpent Sting, instead delivering explosive shot throughout the three.
Is Evoker
His
the
Priest,
worst?
Priest is untouched, and I actually think that's a good thing, because all three specs are effectively unchanged, but Mage. Frost's change.
That's pretty cool. Hold on.
Discount. Okay, let's kick things off with the Lucky and the Triumphant, and of all the classes, I think Death Knights are...
Wow. That's kind of like voodoo-y.
Coming out on top with the biggest glow up. All three hero talent trees are bringing...
Oh my god, that's sick. Okay, Death Knight's gonna be insane.
Mage.
Mage set looks cool.
Is Paladin.
Ooh. That's pretty dank. Monk.
Go in. The last class then, for those who are popping off, is the Monk.
The Monk. See Rogue.
As you guys have got next to zero changes to your deeply flawed specs, and that, as you guys have got...
That's pretty cool, I like that.
Warrior then. Warrior...
That was Warrior. I like the one in the middle. It's pretty dank. Hunter.
Next then, Hunters.
That's good. Warlock.
Thankfully, Warlocks are...
Bro, that is amazing. That looks amazing. I love it. That's amazing, right? It's got a little
also
eyeball.
Winners here, where...
That's sick.
The winner today is the...
That is Garbanzo. That is Garbanzo. Priest.
His Priest.
That's pretty sick. Locke is sick. Priest looks sick too. I like that.
Wish I was kidding, but I'm not. Now, they're not in the worst spot ever. It just does feel a little bit meh to move, you know, from one expansion to the other and not really get that much. Vengeance does just suffer from the same things. It's strong. It's got its... Wish I was kidding, but I'm not. And, okay. It's a good shadow and just... And then there's Demon Hunters. You guys got...
Oh, that's sick. The horns kind of... Like, I like these side horns. That's alright. Priest is mid, looks like a bug.
His Priest is...
Well, it's a bug expansion, okay?
Wish I was kidding,
Demon
but...
Hunter looks pretty sick.
Pretty...
I don't know.
With healing.
I like the helmet.
Not on the worst acts causing theirs. You guys got changes, like...
Is this a part of it? I don't know. Alright, Evoker, this one doesn't really matter, huh?
You can do that, but I would just... Not got many changes. There's a little bit of stagnation. And the final class...
Wow, look how sick that armor set is that you will never see. Where's Druid? Oh, his. Maybe Druid's not a winner. Death Knight, Mage, Paladin, Monk, Rogue, Druid, Warrior, Hunter, Warlock, Shaman, Priest. Where's. You ready? Alright, chat. It was a short stream today. Tomorrow, hopefully, we'll push into some abiotic factor. Possibly beat the game tomorrow, so we'll see. War Within hype. We're gonna probably do something special for War Within. Whatever I can think of. Got to get stuff ready. It's been a lot going on. Been busy, but yeah. I just messed up this. But nice talking to you, Bosley. Definitely gotta get some games in when War Within comes out. It's time to wrap up all those side quests, all those side games, because when WoW comes out, that's it. It'll be WoW for at least a month straight. All right, you guys have a good night, and I'll